over for the bajillionth time. Again, we're still in factoring. Why are we still in factoring, Miss Thompson? Because of this kind of silly things you were trying to do before spring break. I anticipated it. We talked about we were going to be on factoring for a while. Eventually, there will be a factoring test. That date has not been determined at this time. Saying all that, your projects have all been graded. Most of us already have their grades. If you don't, I'll gladly hand it to you. If you didn't turn it in, I typed in the 0. You know I don't want it. You need to come talk to me. Unless, of course, you were absent, and then I do understand. I think, Maddie, weren't you absent Friday before spring break? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so that I would understand. Otherwise, I'm a little confused. Today is GCF. Tomorrow we'll do leading coefficient 1. After that, leading coefficient not 1. Why are we still on this? Because we keep making the same mistakes. Got to get it together. There were more words I was going to use. Where are the more words? Oh, next week. Next week is Aspire testing for the sophomores. I know. So, but I think what the plan is for you is that they're going to do the interim test while they take the real test. That's why you didn't take the third interim. Your percentage at the moment is 21%. If you can get, let's say, I challenged third period, they were at 29. I challenged them to get to 40, so that's 11%. If you can get a 10% gain, so if you can get to 31%, I will bring some sort of a prize. And knowing me, because I'm a baker, it'll probably be like brownies or cookies or something of the sweet variety. So if you can get to a 31%, surely you can. If you could somehow make it over 40, then we're talking like the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like not the from scratch cookies kind of stuff. Not like I brought it from Walmart and brought it to you and was like, here's some cookies. Like for real cookies. I will put effort into your life. I might even let you, let's put it this way, not only would you get a dessert, but I would also let you in the gum bag you may or may not have known about. I have a bag full of gum. It's good gum, too. I pass it out randomly. No. Yeah, I don't give it out for birthdays. I only give it out if you did something awesome. You would have to do something real awesome. That's my name.
I still remember that food you promised me over.
That's nice. Must be nice. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I did forget to give y'all. You forgot to remind me to pass out the honey buns for y'all. You're right, and they were all gone. But they would have been bad by now anyway. There's a reason I was giving them out for free. They were going to expire like April 3rd. Well, I gave them out in the next class period, but I forgot to give them to you. I did. Oh, well. Okay, so back on track. Get your life together. Get back on track. The plan is today. You have a maze and a worksheet. I swear you could get both done before we leave the room if you focus. As for the bell ringer, so back to your interim testing next week while they Aspire test. So I anticipate our class to be a little off. I don't know, like for instance, they're probably not going to ring the bells and everything just gets crazy during testing weeks. Just so you know in advance, go ahead and prep yourself. Okay, number 1 says, what is the product of 4x minus 3 and 2x plus 1? What does the word product mean? Okay, so we need to multiply. Whoa. We need to multiply. So if I multiply 4x minus 3 times 2x plus 1, what do I need to use? FOIL. That's our acronym. Okay, so what did you get as your final answer? Okay, I hope you all got what he said. If not, going over it first would be 8x squared. Outer would be plus 4x. Inner, negative 6x. Last, negative 3. Are there any questions about that? I combine like terms because 4x and negative 6x go together. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. So my final answer is 8x squared minus 2x minus 3, like Ashanti in half the room said. Perfect. Are there any questions about this?
No.
Okay, then let's go to the next bell ringer. Do I use the ninja star on 2A? No. The leading coefficient's 1. We only use the ninja star when the leading coefficient's anything except 1. So I'm going to ask myself what adds to give me the middle, which is negative 6. What multiplies to give me the last, which is 8. And when we first started doing these problems, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we used to, I guess 3 weeks ago now, goodness, we used to make a list. So what multiplies to 8? 1 and 8, and what else? 2 and 4. Okay, our list is very small for this one. Our list for 48 would be much longer. Okay, which of those do I pick? 1 and 8 or 2 and 4?
2 and 4.
Okay, so if I pick 2 and 4, well, 2 times 4 is 8, but 2 plus 4 is not negative 6. I wrote an 8, and that needs to be a 4. Who has to be negative? Both are negative. Negative 2, negative 4 makes negative 6. Negative times a negative makes a positive. Okay, how do I write those two factors?
X plus.
Plus or minus? Minus what?
4.
Okay, and?
X minus 2.
Okay, it does not matter what order you write that in. You can either do that, or you could do, it does not matter which, fancy terms for you, binomial comes first. It does not matter. How could you check yourself from here? FOIL. You could FOIL it all out and make sure you got your original problem. Okay, and then let's do the second one, and then remind me I have a side rant. The second one, it adds to 2, multiplies to negative 48. Does anyone know the answer?
Yeah.
What is it?
X plus 8 and X minus 6.
He's already jumping to the end. 8 minus 6 is 2. 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. So it's X plus 8 and X minus 6. Does anyone need me to go into more detail with that one? Okay. So my side rant would be, in third period was the real culprit. I'm not really sure fourth period, but it can't hurt to talk to you as well. You better be glad. So Ayana, as you know, graded most of the projects. The reason is because she knew how to check them, because every problem you can check it with FOIL. Probably as best she graded, or else I would have been a lot harsher. So if you were given the base form, x squared plus bx minus c, then you should have made problems that look like x squared plus 7x minus 10, or x squared plus 8x minus 15. They needed to be of that form. So bad examples would be 3x squared, and it shouldn't have started with a 3, it needs to start with a 1. X squared minus 7x. If it says plus bx, that needs to be a plus sign. X squared plus 7x plus 10. It said minus c, so that last term needed to be negative. There are some who did this wrong on their project, and that's why, since it was right before spring break and your brain was dead and so was mine, I'm going to stay off of it. My goodness, please do not make this mistake again, because I swear we're not doing a project for this next assessment. We're going to take a real big girl math test, and so we got to get our act together. Yeah, well, I'm a girl. Okay, as for the handout thingy, we are going to make a little booklet that says all the things you already know. We're going to learn some new things later on in the week, but the first 3 days is all things you already know. Maybe if it's in a cute little booklet, it'll come back to your brain. I don't know. We'll see. The title of our little booklet is going to be Steps for Factoring. Are you surprised?
No.
You should not be. Steps for Factoring. So we have a couple little tabs we're going to fill in throughout the week. Today we're only filling in the one tab. We're going to fill in that first tab. And you're very smart, and you pay attention to context clues. Any guesses on what that first tab needs to say? What problems am I going to do today? Say it, Julia. Don't just mouth it. Oh, yeah. It says GCF everything over there. So you can just put GCF, but there's a lot of room, so I'm going to spell it out. Greatest common factor. Miss Compton. We did 2 different checkpoints on that. We swear we have that down. You lie. You lie. Because if I give you a problem, a random problem, and don't say specifically, hey, Julia, is there a greatest common factor? It is not her first instinct to think through, there might be a greatest common factor in this problem. No, she tries to ninja star it, and she didn't really have to do all that work. So the whole point being, we're going to do it until Julia has it down. I know. Poor Julia. Okay, inside that first flap, we're going to work probably 3, maybe 4 problems on greatest common factor. But if it comes up out of the blue and smacks you in the head, you don't know what to do. 2x to the 4th plus 22x third plus 56x squared. So my polynomial is 2x to the 4th plus 22x to the 3rd plus 56x squared. Is there anything that I can factor out of those three terms? A 2 and what else? Perfect. And then we need to figure out what's left in the parentheses. And as a reminder, vocab term-wise, we called what we factored out, that is the GCF. And what's left in parentheses, we call that the remaining polynomial. Now, I know you picked up your maze on the way in. On the maze, you figure out what you can factor out of both terms given, and that's how you know which direction to follow. But I'll say those words again in a second. Okay, if I factor out a 2x squared, what is left in that first term?
X squared.
Okay, so Maggie said 2 divided by 2, that's just 1. We don't write it. It's an understood 1. Then she said she subtracted the exponents. 4 minus 2 is just 2.
Right.
Okay, so we did our first term. What would be our second term? Agreed. So 22 divided by 2 is 11. X to the 3rd, x squared, 3 minus 2 is 1. So I get 11x. Okay, what do I get from my last term? Okay, 56 divided by 2 is 28. Do I have any x's left? No. It was x squared. I factored out an x squared. I have none left. Or if you need to think it through and subtract, 2 minus 2 is 0. We don't have any x's left. Are there any questions about the remaining polynomial? Okay, well then let's step up our game one teeny tiny notch. For our second example, that's an ugly 2, but a 2 nonetheless. Let's do 24r to the 3rd plus 116r squared minus 168r. What can we factor?
Yeah. 8.
I don't know.
8.
I don't know. Does 8 go into 168 and 116? I don't know. I don't know.
Wait.
It doesn't. She said 8's not in. It doesn't go evenly.
2.
Well, for sure 2, but we're wondering if there's anything higher.
It doesn't.
24 doesn't. Does 24 go into 116? No. It's 4?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I factor out 4 and then what else? If we're wrong, we'll realize it soon. 4r. Okay, if that's right, we're just going to assume Hannah's right. It seems right. We'll find out. Okay, what would be left in the first term? 6r squared. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 3 minus 1 is r2. Any questions about that first term? What do I have for the second term? I've made a mistake. Can you help me fix it? It should be a positive 29r. And last but not least, 42? Is it just 42 or is it 42r? Just 42. Okay, are there any questions about our first two examples? Okay, then here's a good question. I'm stopping there for today, but am I actually done with either of those examples? No. On the first one, I could probably factor that. It's a leading coefficient of 1. I can probably factor it. I need to look into it. And on the second one, leading coefficients of 6, I can probably use the ninja star and factor that. So I'm going to use these exact problems over the next 2 days. But my gosh, the first step Hiram needs to think of in his brain is there a greatest common factor? That's why it made the first flap. It is the most important step that gets so overlooked. Okay, well, I shouldn't have said we were done. We're not done with our examples. I just meant those 2 examples could continue. My bad. I must have said that poorly. I heard the zip. Okay, the third example of the day is negative 4m squared x plus 8mxn plus 140m x to the third n.
Whoa.
I know. It is probably our final example, mostly because I wrote too big and I'm running out of room.
Does that say plus 8mx?
It does. It's negative 4m squared x plus 8mxn plus 140mx to the third n. Okay, here we are.
Okay.
What should I factor out?
4mxn. That's it.
All of that? Is he right? There's not an n in the first term. I can only factor out a 4mx. I still have another issue with it.
What?
Okay, we always like our remaining term, our remaining polynomial, we like for that first one to be positive. If you look at our previous 2 examples, we had a positive 1x squared and a positive 6r squared. So in order for this first guy to be positive, we're going to need to factor out a negative 4m. Alright, if I factor out a negative 4m, what am I left with? What else? What's the next term?
Oh, that's n.
Is Aaron right? Positive 2n. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. Otherwise, she's completely right. mx, it only has an n left. And last, what would I have? Is it negative? Is it positive? What is it?
Why'd you do an n? It should be an n, right?
mxn, we factored out an m and an x, so it only has the n left.
Negative 35.
Negative 35.
Correct.
Yes. No, okay, we factored out an m already. It was x to the third. 3 minus 1, we had x squared left. And then he has an n. So it's negative 35 x squared n. Are there any questions about this?
Oh, man.
Again, the reason it made the first slap of the book is because every single time that's the first question you need to ask yourself. It's not, how do I factor this? It's, is there a GCF? Is there a GCF? If there is a GCF, please, please, please pull it out first.